welcome to episode 10 of the One Lonely Owl podcast. My name is Terry and I will be your host. This is a podcast about my knitting adventures, past, present, and future. I will also talk about other crafty goodness. Most of my crafts, although, center around yarn, maybe some sewing, and a little bit of painting. And we just generally have a good time. I am originally from Newfoundland, but I currently live in Alberta, Canada. And if for any reason you wish to contact me, please feel free to do so. You can find all of my information. My contact info is listed in the description box, which you can find right below this video. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for giving me a try. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Hi, Mom. I hope each and every one of you is able to take something of value away from this video. With that, let's get started. I will say this is the fourth time, I believe, that I have done this video, and I apologize because of the lighting. It has changed. I'm going to move my chair a little and my camera, so sorry about the bumping, and hopefully this will work a little bit better. Sorry about that. Totally professional here. So, first off, the very first segment is called Mug Up, and because, like I said, this is the fourth or fifth time that I've done this, half of my tea is already gone, but we today have a cup of what I've been calling my Old Faithful. It is a cup of Tetley tea with a splash of milk and one sugar in a Pyrex, vintage Pyrex mug. And it's already getting cold, like I said, because we've been doing this for a little while. The next segment is called La. La is where I share with you what I'm wearing. Today I'm wearing the Boxy by Locatelli. I am no stranger to this pattern. I have knit it 3 separate times. This is number 3 of my Boxies. It is knit with Polkadot creeks, fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon in the Spice Market colorway. Again, my apologies for the lighting because it has changed since I started doing this the first time, but it is a rust orange color. I'm going to stand up, see if you can see. Apologies again for the shadows. It is just a beautiful sweater. It fits on every body type I've ever seen. It has about 12 inches, I believe, or 30 centimeters of ease. So you can get away with fudging your gauge a little bit if you make it a little bit too big or a little bit too small. It has a lot of forgiveness. I have, like I said, I've made 3 of these, and it is by far the highest rotation. I can dress it up, I can dress it down. It's got these cute little sleeves that are quite small, but come down to your elbow because of the size of the sweater. I'm a big fan. So, like I said, Boxy by Locatelli, knit with Polkadot Creek, Spice Market in the fingering weight. It is miles and miles of stockinette. I won't try to pretend that it is an easy, quick off the needles, although it is easy because it's just miles and miles of stockinette. But I think the best part about it is when you're done, all you have to do with these little like 4-inch sleeves and your sweater is finished. So I really enjoy knitting this pattern. The next segment is called Whatta Ya At, and Whatta Ya At is where we talk about what I have been working on. So the first thing on that list is my antlerless antler cardigan by Tin Can Knits. So the antler cardigan is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. It is a paid-for pattern. You can get it on Ravelry, or you can get it in the book Pacific Knits, which I have just right here. I love that book. It's got a lot of really lovely patterns in there, and the things that are in there, the lighting is just off the charts today. So sorry about the terrible lighting. The Pacific Knits book has all kinds of patterns that are perfect for the weather that I currently live in. So like I said, I'm a big fan of that book. I'm also just generally a very big fan of Tin Can Knits. If you haven't already, they have an app and I absolutely love it. I've got a lot of Tin Can Knits patterns on the needles at the moment, so they are all in that app. Well, except for the paid for pattern, because that is not available currently on the app at the time of recording. So by the time, if you watch this a little while later, you may see that it will be there. So Antlerless Antler is the cardigan that I am knitting, and I have decided to opt out of the cabling because I wanted to get it done quickly. I will not be showing the full sweater, but I will describe where I am. The reason I'm not going to be showing it is because the person that this is for does watch the podcast, and so it is a gift. To be fair, she already knows. It's not a big deal, but I want at least some sort of surprise if there's any way possible. So it's living in this 31 bag. 31 is a multi-level marketing company that my sister-in-law used to work for. And I bought a ton of bags and I use them for travel and whatever. But this one I particularly like because it has a bit of a see-through, like a window there. So you can see the color. I have been calling this teal. It is actually Seafoam. That's the name of the color. It is Briggs & Little Sport held double. Again, called in the Seafoam colorway. The pattern, where I am in the pattern, I believe the last time I had just finished maybe a little bit of the ribbing on the body. I'm now fully finished the body up to the sleeves, where you join the sleeves to the body of the sweater. It's obviously a bottom-up construction. And then I'm past the sleeves up to the last section of decreases around the yoke of the sweater. And then all I have to do is the ribbing and the button band, and the sweater will be complete. And then I have to graft the underarm because the underarm is not joined just yet. Let's see. The second work in progress that I have in Whatta Ya At is the Harvest Cardigan. The Harvest Cardigan is a pattern by, you guessed it, Tin Can Knits. It is a free pattern, and so I am following it on the Tin Can Knits app, and I absolutely love it. You can change the color of the icon that shows you. It shows you what the pattern looks like. Like the icon of the harvest, so it says harvest, and it's got a little picture of the sweater, and it looks like the sweater, but you can change the color of it so that if you're making it in green, you make it green. If you're making it in purple, you can make it purple. Obviously, mine is being knit in this undyed Peruvian wool, so mine sort of looks like a tan color that I've done. So, Tin Can Knits, Harvest Cardigan, living in my Locatelli Pampa Bucket bag. Again, apologies for the terrible lighting. Get that out of the sun. There we go. Sort of. The sun will not go away. There we are. What a game we're going to play today. Anyway, so this is the yarn that I am using. I'm going to try to get this without a bunch of shadows. It, like I said, is undyed Peruvian. It is Cascade Ecological Soft in this 100% undyed Peruvian. I have the label just right here. It says Antique Platinum Twist 9025 is, I guess you want to call it the colorway, 9025. I absolutely love this yarn. It is nice and squishy. It smells lovely. It smells very sheepy. And it's not scratchy at all. Like, this for me is definitely next to skin. I don't know if you know, I'm probably talking to a bunch of people that have already used this yarn before, but this is my first time using it, so I wasn't sure what to expect. Here is the sweater in all its glory. I can't recall where I was the last time that I showed this to you, but I have gotten down past the armholes. So I'm now knitting, not in the round, but just knitting straight stockinette back and forth. And what else do I want to show you? Oh, the stitch stoppers. The stitch stoppers came from One Wave Designs, and I've got a couple because I've got a couple sets of needles on here. They are all the same, but I'll see if I can show them to you. They have these little like autumnal patterns on them, and the thing that I really liked about them is there are some sunflowers that you can see. Let me see if I can get a little closer. There you go. So again, one wave design. So number one wave designs on the on Etsy, which I will link down below. So that is the Harvest cardigan with Cascade Ecological Soft in my Locatelli Pampa Bucket bag. Proud of the progress I've made on that, because quite honestly, I have been working almost totally exclusively on the antlerless antler, and because I'm trying to get it done for Christmas. But just like I said, I gotta pass the underarms, which for me is a big deal because that requires me to pay attention to where the increases are in the raglan, and I have been, touch wood, I've been doing pretty good with that. All right, what else do we have? Oh, my paint by number. So again, if you've been here before, you will know I have a desk that sits right there, and the paint by number is actually taped to the top of the desk, so I won't be able to show it to you, but I've been slowly but surely painting away, and I've been doing things like I'll pick just one number and I'll do that number. I had been working from 1 all the way up to, I think I was at 19, but the other day there was a section that had, you know, a number that was way out, like 30 or something, and it was just an easy paint, so I grabbed that and I finished that little bit. So I've decided I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time. I really do enjoy sitting down and spending several hours at it, but unfortunately at this time I just don't have several hours uninterrupted, so I'm doing it number by number, one little block at a time. And to be honest, I'll talk a little bit about this in Best Kind, but that is just the way that I get things done these days. It was a hard lesson for me to learn that you can only do one small thing at a time at this point in my life. So I love that when I'm doing my craft, the craft can still sort of come alive in front of my eyes, all with just, you know, one row at a time, one section of the painting at a time, one book, you know, in a book situation, one page at a time, one chapter at a time. So I love that lesson in life. So yeah, there's your philosophy lesson or something for today. So next in the Whatta Ya At, I've been up to a lot, I gotta say. I have had a fair amount of stuff on the go. The next project that I will show you, I've got 2 more to show, is the Grinch sock, the You're a Mean one by Arctic Crafts. Again, I will apologize, Arctic Crafts no longer dyes yarn for sale, so although this was last year's, I believe, this color is just awesome. I'm so excited when I get to pick this up. This is my doctor dentist office knitting, or if I'm sitting and waiting and I don't have like a lot of time to devote to paying attention to pulling out a great big project. So this one goes in my purse. It's living in a Creek Gardens Crafts drawstring Grinch bag. It is, like I said, You're a Mean one, which I will hold over here. And the red is just a like a Christmassy red color that matches. And the stitch stoppers, which I don't have on the needles right now, are these little Grinch guys, which I love. There you go. So that is my You're a Mean one, or Grinch socks, in my Grinch bag. The last work in progress that I have on the needles is, I bet you can't guess who this pattern is by, but it is the World's Simplest Mitts by Tin Can Knits. And I am knitting it with a, I'm so predictable. I'm knitting a Tin Can Knits pattern with a Polkadot Creek yarn. So this Polkadot Creek yarn is the, I believe it was called the Romance. The name of the package, the yarn collection that she had put together was called Romance. And it is a somewhat of a gradient, I guess you could say. Let me see if I can pull it all out here. So there are 5 colors. I'm going to put them over here so you can see them a little bit better. So there are 5 colors in this kit with, you pair it with, in this case, I believe this is sand. The Mohair that you pair it with is the sand colorway. And what you come up with when you pair those together is a gorgeous mitten. This is just obviously a mitten cuff. This is the mitten cuff for the world's simplest mitts. Hang on. There we go. I've only, as you can tell, I don't even have the cuff completed. I've only got maybe an inch and a half done on that. It is, I'm doing that on my 9-inch circulars. And I'll be honest, I have to just do a little bit at a time because I find I knit totally differently when I do any knitting on a 9-inch circular. I am enjoying it, but no, I am enjoying it, and I love knitting sort of aimlessly. Like I can knit on a sock without looking. I can knit on a sweater when it's in stockinette, even if it's knitting or purling, it doesn't matter. This I have to sit and pay attention to because there's 2 strands held together, which I'm not typically used to, although I am doing 2 strands of sport held together for the antler cardigan. But the needles are so small. I feel like I'm knitting, I've said this before to people, I feel like I'm knitting with toothpicks and dental floss. And so I kind of have to pick these up when I'm ready to pay attention to what I'm doing. And it's not really TV knitting. It's not hard per se. It just needs a little bit more attention. So that is living in my Canada Day bag by Creek Gardens Crafts. And I'm going to put this back over here because I'm not done with it, because you'll find out in a moment when we get to the segment Frig Off Rotted Not Fit, but I'll talk about that in a second. The next, let's see, yeah, the next item up on the block today, we're going to go right into the segment called Yes By. Yes By is the segment where we talk about something that I've completed. I don't paint much. I don't paint well, but I decided I was going to paint an image that I have had in my head for a while. This, I suppose, could also go in the best kind segment. I think I mentioned this once before. I have been doing EMDR with my psychologist. Eye movement desensitization, and I always forget what the R stands for. Retraining? Something? Anyway, I'll put whatever it is below. I have been working with my psychologist and been working on some EMDR with her, and it is, in my case, really, really, really super helpful. So in one of those scenarios, she asked me to imagine a place that, you know, I can see it, I can hear it, I can smell it, I can tell you the colors, I can tell you the temperature, and like visualizing a place that I can go when I need to feel calm. So this particular place, then once you've got your place sorted, then you name it. And my particular place is called Autumn Calm, and I'll describe it for you. So it is sort of a field, not particularly a field like a meadow, but a clearing, if you will, in an autumn scenery where there's some evergreen trees, some deciduous trees, there's leaves all over the ground. You can smell the leaves, you can feel the cool autumn air, but it's not cold quite yet. And the sun is just kind of setting below the trees. There's a pathway that sort of meanders through. There's a picnic table kind of on the left-hand side. And then as far as I get, I don't really get that far. I just sort of like walk down the pathway, and then by that time I'm kind of calmed down, so I don't need to go any further. I haven't visualized anything past that. In a recent situation. It wasn't with my psychologist, but I was coached, I suppose you could say, to put a fence around so that it's a safe place that is just for me, or I can invite people to it. So if I want to invite a friend or my husband or our children or whatever, I can do so. So there's also a fence. Anyway, I did this with some watercolor, and again, I will apologize because it is definitely not, and I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to see it with the lighting. So it is very, very remedial, but this is what is basically what the picture is in my head. There, like I said, leaves on the ground, leaves on the pathway, the sun is going down, you can see and smell all the beautiful autumn, the things that come along with autumn, and primarily the reason why I love autumn. I love it, the coolness in the air. I love the smell of the leaves. It is by far my favorite time of year. So that, quite honestly, is the only thing that I finished. Like I said, I am working furiously toward getting the antler cardigan completed, so that will be done hopefully by the next time I podcast. And I have been doing a ton of other things, so whips kind of outweigh the finished objects this time. All right, next we have Frig Off, Rotted, Not Fit. Frig Off, Rotted, Not Fit is the segment where I talk about something that has gone wrong in the last 2 weeks. So the project that I just showed you, the World's Simplest Mitts by Tin Can Knits, with the Canada Day bag and, you know, the Mohair held double with Polkadot Creek. There's a zipper on this bag, and right before I started podcasting, I went to open the bag and the mohair got caught. Now, thankfully, I was able to wiggle it out and there was no damage. Again, knock on wood here, but there was no damage to any of the yarn or the project. But I've decided I'm actually just going to take it out of this project bag and put it in a drawstring. Because it's a Christmas gift, I think I have a Christmas drawstring bag. I'll probably just put it in that, but it's going in a drawstring bag and it will no longer live in this one. And for now, as you can tell, I am not zipping this one up. So, Frig Off, Rotted, Not Fit. Totally avoided a chaotic situation. This is my first real project with Mohair, where I'm holding Mohair double, and I narrowly avoided chaos and destruction, and I'm really glad that it didn't go any worse. So that is Frig Off, Rotted, Not Fit. If you can hear, I'm sure you can, I'm scratching off my notes as I go. I haven't mentioned this yet in this particular episode. I am currently dealing with some brain fog concerns, and so I really need to keep myself on track with notes. And that goes for everyday life as well as when it comes to the podcast. So my apologies if you can hear the pencil scraping across the paper. Or maybe I'm going to get into, what is it called? ASMR? Where people like do things and you can listen to them do things. If scratching pencil on paper sounds good to you, then you're welcome. All right, twacking. Twacking is our episode, or is the section of the episode where we talk about things that we've purchased. In Newfoundland, twacking means to go shopping without any intention of buying. I had full intentions of buying both of these advent calendars, and I purchased them way back when Polkadot Creek had put them out on her website right away. As of the recording of this episode, I believe there is only one of the Advents left for the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So if you see this and you want to go get one, there is one left, or there was one left at the time of this recording. But this is a bag by Sew Shannon, S-E-W Shannon. Again, I'll put all the information here and I'll link everything that I can find in the description box below. This is a National Lampoon's cartoony Christmas bag, and I absolutely love it. It is so fun. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is my brother's favorite Christmas movie. I'll apologize for the zipper. And I'm going to apologize for crinkling. There's nothing really to show you other than there's like lovely, delicious bags, and they're full of Advent wrappings. there is a card inside which describes all of the yarn dyers. So Polkadot Creek gets together with 25, I guess 24 other, no, 20, yeah. So 24 other makers. So Polkadot Creek and So Shannon are the 2 of the 25. There's 23 other yarn dyers that you get a selection from. And I normally wouldn't just go to any particular yarn dyer and just buy a skein. I'm not like a one skein wonder kind of person. I like to knit things like a Boxy, so I will buy at least 3, but I don't want to buy 3 skeins of something if I haven't worked with their yarn before. So this is a lovely way to get a bit of a taste test. Like I said, this is last year, I think she called it the Great Canadian Yarn. As if I can remember what it was called last year. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. So some of the examples of yarn dyers that are in here are Mary Margaret Fibers, Allison Barnes Yarn, That Yarn Habit, Sea Turtle Fiber Arts. There's so many lovely dyers in here. Obviously, I've only named a few. But I'll take these out and I will show you the inside of the bag because I love the inside of the bag almost as much as I love the outside of the bag. Look how cute that is, little Christmas Christmas lights, and like how perfect is that for National Lampoons, the Christmas lights and Clark. Oh, anyway. So I have been thinking about possibly doing a, what is it called? Where you do Christmas countdown, Vlogmas. Oh my goodness gracious. I've been considering doing Vlogmas this year. I'm not sure if I will or not, but if I do, I'll take you along for the ride and I will open up my yarn advent with you. I'm a sucker for advents, so I bought 2. This one, however, is not a yarn advent. It is a, oh my gosh, there's yarn or fabric all over it. This one is a Notions advent, so I love Notions, and so I thought this one would be really fun. This one is a collaboration between Polkadot Creek and Hissy Knits. So this one is like, you know, you poke out the door and you get out. It's things like stitch stoppers, I think, and progress keepers, things like that. So super excited about this one. So again, if I do decide to do Vlogmas, come along and join me and maybe we will open those together. Actually, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I know I've heard other vloggers or podcasters say that Vlogmas is a fair amount of work. I'm happy to do it. I do have 2 small children at home, so I will have to figure out a way to maybe figure out lighting at nighttime because that's likely when I'll be doing most of my recording. But feel free to write a comment below if Vlogmas is something that you're interested in and that you might want to watch. If you want to follow along. This is my first year podcasting, so it was my first Christmas doing this. I've only been doing this for about 6 months, not even 5 months. So feel free to give me your thoughts, share your thoughts below. Is Vlogmas something that I should do? Yes or no? What do you think? Okay. So I don't have anything else to show, but I will talk about a couple of things that I have purchased that are on their way to me. I have ordered some signature single point needles so that I can start my Cozy Memories blanket. I feel like that's going to be something that I want to work on. Once I get all my Christmas stuff out of the way, I think I want to get Cozy Memories on the needles. So I ordered some signature fiber arts, signature something, needle arts, signature needle arts, not fiber arts. I will, if they still have any, I will link them below, but they were going out of business. So that's why I ordered them, because they were on sale. But if they are still in stock, if there's anything in stock, I'll link those below. If not, I apologize. But like I said, they are going out of business. Okay. Next, normally I would do Now to Once. I'm going to skip Now to Once this time. Now to Once is where we talk about any future knitting. I just sort of mentioned I want to get the Cozy Memories blanket on. I've got so much on the needles right now, and I've got other things that are in my queue that have to get done for Christmas gift knitting. So I've decided that I'm just going to skip Now to Once for this particular episode, and then it will be back in regular rotation probably once I get the Christmas knits completed. So by Christmas we'll have had that. We'll be back in the swing of things, and I'll be able to tell you what it is that I'm virtually knitting in my head. I wanted to talk a little bit about this. I'm not exactly sure where this fits in my conversation, but my birthday is coming up on Saturday, and I'm basically a 5-year-old when it comes to birthdays. I get so excited. I wanted to bring up my birthday purely selfishly so that I could talk a little bit about some of the things that I wanted to do for my birthday. So again, maybe it does fit in jigs and reels, because one of the things that I usually do on my birthday is I go to a record store locally. But anyway, I haven't quite decided. I just wanted to sort of think about it and maybe think about it out loud with you and see if you have any thoughts. So normally on my birthday, I like to spend it twacking around downtown Calgary. So I will go with a friend if it's a weekday. I always take the day off work. It's Saturday, so my birthday is November 18th, so it's on this Saturday. And I normally go with a friend. This year, it's a Saturday, so I may take my kids and go twacking around downtown Calgary. So one of my favorite yarn stores, called Stash Lounge, is on 9th Avenue in Inglewood in Calgary, and I usually drop in there and I wander around and maybe purchase something, maybe not, depends on how I'm feeling or what it is that I'm looking for. And just up the road, just a little further west, is Recordland. And Recordland is a secondhand vinyl record store. So they sell vinyl, they sell CDs, old CDs and cassette tapes. And I absolutely love going in there and just twacking around. So I probably, actually I don't know, jigs and reels, twacking, who knows. It's the middle section between twacking and jigs and reels. And then sort of across the street on the same side as Stash, but a little further up, there is a secondhand bookstore called Fair's Fair. So those are the 3 stores that I normally hit, and I go downtown and I park and just walk along. Usually if I'm with some friends, we'll take in a pizza place. There's a pizza place down there called Without Papers. That's delicious. There's a Mexican restaurant, which I cannot recall what the name of it is, but again, anything that I talk about, I will link below. It's absolutely delicious as well. So again, if I'm with a friend, normally we'll go and we'll grab lunch or something. If I'm taking my kids, I probably will take them for lunch, but it will depend on how long we've been out walking around, because as they are a little bit younger, they don't always have the same capacity for wandering downtown Calgary as I do. And then that evening, my husband and I are going to have a date, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully we will be able to share a little bit from that. I might even take some pictures and I can pop them into my next episode in 2 weeks' time. So that's what I'm planning for my birthday. So hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit with you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for indulging me chatting about the things that I want to do for my birthday. Like I said, I'm basically a child. I love my birthday. I think it's so much fun. I've already ordered myself a birthday present, which I do every year, but generally, like I said, I go downtown and I go shopping and I buy myself a ton of Christmas vinyl because that's my favorite. But this year I bought myself something online, and I will show it to you when we come around to it, when it comes in the mail. Okay, so now we're really into Jigs and Reels. Jigs and Reels is where we talk about things that I'm watching, reading, or listening to. And I've been exclusively listening to, actually, no, that's not true. I have tried to listen to a couple of books. So I was listening to Horse by Geraldine Brooks. And I was 2 hours in, and 2+ hours in, and I just couldn't get into it. So I put that down and I returned it to my library. We have a book club book that is, it's on the day actually that this episode will go live, and it is called, oh my gosh, I will put the name and the author down below. cannot for the life of me remember it. Same thing. I listened to it for a little bit and I just couldn't get into it. So I have put that on hold as well. And something that I definitely got into. So I started, a girlfriend of mine and I, we sort of started a book club. We had talked about how we wanted to have a book club outside of our library, our local library's book club. And we got together and had our preliminary meeting where we chose our books. Well, a book or two. We chose the first and the second month of books. And one of the ladies that was there mentioned a book that I hadn't heard of. And when I say it out loud, I don't want any of you to laugh at me. Although, I mean, honestly, feel free because it's ridiculous. The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So I hadn't heard of it. And she said that it was supposed to be a really great read. So I went onto my library and I put a hold on it, and it was like 400 years that I was going to have to wait to get this book because everybody and their dog except me knew about this book and how amazing it is. Anyway, I put it on hold. It came available for a 7-day rental or whatever. Like you could take it out for 7 days. So I did, and I plowed through it, and it was not, sometimes when I have those 7-day rentals or 7-day withdrawals, they're really hard to get through because there's a lot of listening. I had no problem getting through that book in 7 days. I actually think I returned it after 5. I was done 2 days early. So I really, really enjoyed it. I will warn you, if you have not heard of it or have not read it, it is fairly graphic, and I would consider it to be pretty adult. Although when you're listening to the book, I don't know if it's available in the paperback copy, but when you're listening to the book, there are trigger warnings noted at the beginning, which I must say I really did appreciate. So I started and finished in 5 days the Rebecca Yarros The Fourth Wing, and then immediately went on to our big box store bookstore Chapters or Indigo, and I ordered the Iron Flame, which I think I ordered it on November 8th, and it had just come out on November 6th. So I was like right in the middle of all of the excitement, although I had no idea what I was getting into. Anyway, I was definitely one of those people back in the day when Harry Potter was released. I was at the bookstore at 12:01 when they released the book, and absolutely was standing in line waiting for those books. So I have a feeling this is going to be my 40s version of that exact same experience. I now feel like I have to go back and purchase the hardcover copy of The Fourth Wing, but we'll see. We'll see if I do that. I'm definitely a collector, and when it comes to books, I am definitely a collector of books. So I have to be careful about what I start to collect, because once I start collecting it, then I'm in trouble. So I started and finished The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and started reading The Iron Flame, and I don't know, maybe halfway through the book. I will see. Let me see if I can show you. Again, I'm probably the only person on the planet that hasn't read this book or heard about it up until maybe last week. But this is what The Iron Flame looks like. Hang on. There you go. So that's Iron Flame. And yeah, I'm 8 hours in, and there's 19 hours, almost 9 hours in, and there's 19 hours left for listening. Again, that won't take me any time to finish. As far as music goes, I've been listening to my old iPod in my vehicle instead of listening to books, because of the graphic nature of the books that I have been listening to. When I'm with my kids, I don't listen to those books in my vehicle, mostly because although they have headphones on, sometimes I'm sort of safe to listen. I don't want to chance them taking their headphones off and being exposed to some of the things, or even being able to hear it through their own headphones. So I have been listening to my old iPod, which has everything and anything on it from pretty much up to the early 2000s. So I can't really tell you what in music world I've been listening to. And like I said in the previous episode, I quite enjoy the Louise Penny books. I haven't read any of the most recent one that I have been reading. which now that I've said it, I've forgotten. Not The Long Way Home. The Nature of the Beast. The Nature of the Beast. I have not read anything between the last episode and this episode because I was exclusively reading those other books and trying to read Horse by Geraldine Brooks and the other book club book that I just couldn't get into. So, and I'm quite happy just because those are books that I own. So I'm happy just to sort of put those in on my bedside table and I'll get to them when I get to them. The next segment is Best Kind. Best Kind is where I talk about things that I find good for me and good for my mental health. Best Kind is probably one of my favorite parts of these podcasts, where I get to talk about things that fill up my cup, and maybe impart some wisdom on you if it's something that you would like to try. So Best Kind, the two main things that I wanted to mention are the book club. So book club that my girlfriend and I decided that we were going to start. So there's 4 of us now in this book club. And we've read, or we're starting to read some just like feel good, fluffy books, which I sometimes find that the book club at my library, they're not as feel good or fluffy. They sometimes are a little harsher for me to get into, or a little harder for me to get past some of the some of the lessons, I guess, if you will, or some of the, they're set in times where slavery, for example, was a thing. And I find sometimes that those books are hard for me to read. So I'm really enjoying book club. We've only had 1 session, but it was so lovely. And I'm really glad that that's going to be part of my life. I did say there was 2 things, but I just thought of something else. Yesterday, my husband had gone through, we had a windstorm here a couple days ago. My husband had gone through, we've got a big bush section out by the west side of our home. He had gone through and picked up all kinds of brush that had fallen. So yesterday I burned some of it and had a little fire. I had a friend come over and we just sat by the fire and enjoyed a nice day outside. It was an absolutely gorgeous day. So just being outside, sitting by the fire. If I haven't used that one as an example in the past, it's definitely something that I do. And I definitely enjoy spending my time outside, sitting by the fire. It's one of my favorite smells. I love the coolness in the air, and the warmth that comes off the fire. It's one of my favorite things. And the final thing in Best Kind is exercise. I've said this before, I need to get back into exercising. I started riding my stationary bike, which if you've seen these episodes before, you might have seen my stationary bike lives just right here. And I've got a television right here, so there's YouTube videos or whatever else that I can watch while I'm riding my bike. I really enjoy getting the exercise, getting my body moving again. So my husband and I had talked about possibly buying a secondhand treadmill and putting that out in the garage so that when it's slushy or gross, we live on a dirt road, so it's tough sometimes to get out with the dog or to get out on the dirt road and go for a long enough walk to make it worth it. So, and where I live, it does get quite cold. It can get down to minus 40 degrees Celsius and sometimes even colder. So I'm really looking forward to the potential of having a treadmill out in our garage. If we do that, I might actually move my bike out there and then we can have a whole gym set up. We'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. But I just wanted to mention that exercise has been something that I've put back into my rotation of things that I've been doing, and I'm really enjoying doing that and feeling good about myself, and my body feels good. So I'm really grateful for that. Let's see. I'm going to just check my notes and make sure I have everything. I have no idea how long this episode is. Like I said, I've done this 2 or 3 times now. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So for now, keep living your best life, filling up your cup, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Until then, stay where you're to, till I comes where you're at. Bye.